Now look at the pay grade, pay ranges and pay component. Basically the pay structure. So to look at the pay structure here, first we will go to manage org pay and job structure. Manage org pay and job structures. In manage org pay and job structures, you will first see the pay grade. Let's see the pay grade first. I will go to pay grade. Let's see the existing pay grade and then we will define the new pay grade. So if you, as you can see, the pay grade is effective from 01/01/1900. It has got pay grade ID, pay grade name, description of the pay grade, status, pay grade level, and code string. This is not a mandatory field. It is defined by someone, so you can actually keep it or you can leave it blank. So let's create a new pay grade now. So to create a pay grade, I will go to create new. I will say pay grade. I will define 01/01/1900. I will define my pay grade code as 9999. I will define pay grade ID as SALARI, salaried, best run USA. Same, I am defining it as description. Pay grade level. This is a numeric field. Here you cannot enter any non-numeric values, like if I suppose enter K here, it will give me error while saving it. It will give invalid pay grade level, expected a number. So you should always enter a number here. Okay. So this is the pay grade which I have defined here. Now let's define the pay ranges. Same way, you will go here on the left side, you will select the pay range. Let's look at the existing pay range. So this is the Argentina salary pay range here. Same, the pay range ID, pay range name, pay range description. It has got status active, currency as ARS, then frequency, annual, minimum pay, maximum pay, midpoint, and then pay grade ID, geo zone, and legal entity. Let's now define the new pay range. So pay range, I will select as 01/01/1900. Pay range ID will also be 9999. Pay range salaried. Best run USA. Best run USA. I will just copy this. I will define it in the description. Currency, I will define it USD because I am defining it for USA. Frequency annual. I will define minimum pay. So let me define minimum pay as, say, $100,000 maximum pay as 200,000 and midpoint as 1,50, 3 zeros. Pay grade as 9999 and USA Metro. Legal entity as 9999. Now save this record. Now you can search your pay range here. So I will go to pay range. I will search 9999 and I can search my pay range which I have defined here. Now I will go to next component. Now next object, which is pay component. So let's look at the existing pay component first. So Let's look at the base salary China. So in the pay component field, if you see, this is effective as of 01/01/1900. Base pay component ID, name, description, active, pay component type. So it could be amount or it could be percentage. Is earning, yes or no. Then you will define currency. What is the frequency of this pay component type, whether monthly or bi-weekly. Then whether it is a recurring or tax treatment as you know, whether you can override this, whether it should be displayed on the self services. Yes, it should be used for comp planning, recurring payment and deduction. Maximum decimal places you can define here, and you can enable and dated payments as yes or no. So let's define a new pay component here. So I will define a pay component 01/01/1900. So I will, let me pick 9999. Basic pay. Amount, it is an amount, percentage or number, it can be percentage or number as well, but here I am selecting as amount. Is earning as yes, currency as USD. You can also define a default value for the amount, but I'm not defining anything. Frequency as I will choose here, so I'm choosing it bi-weekly. Is recurring, yes. Tax treatment, so this is a non-mandatory field. So you can, if you are using payroll component, then you will be using this, otherwise you can leave it blank. Then display on the self services, yes. And rest of the field, recurring payment and deduction, this I am not using it. This is used for compensation planning and compensation module purposes. And maximum decimal places you can define, I can define 2 here. Enable and dated payments, I am not enabling any and dated payment for this, so I am just keeping it as no. Sorry, an override should be yes. Okay, so this is created. Now the pay component 9999 is created. Let's look at the pay component group. Pay component group. So pay component group is answer, which is analyzed. We can say analyzed salary here. So this is the analyzed salary which is defined here. So you can say analyzed salary component, and these are the different components which are defined, which are different basic pays which are defined for calculating the annual salary. So I will add my basic, my pay component here. So I will add 9999. Okay, and then save it. Okay, let us see where it is. 9999 gone. Control F. 9999. Control F. So it is here 9999 basic pay. Okay, so pay component group is defined here. Now let's look at the frequency. So usually you don't need to define the frequency, it is available as a standard, but if in case you need to define it, you can define it. So it is like, for example, annual, frequency is ANN, name is annual, description is annual, and annualization factor is 1. So similarly, if you define the bi-weekly, then the annualization factor will become 26. Okay, and similarly, if you define the monthly, then where is monthly? Then the annualization factor will become 12. So likewise, you will actually calculate it, the frequency. This is about the pay structure. Then let's go and look at the pay group. So pay group is available in manage data. Manage data, and here pay group. So these are the different pay groups which are defined. So let's look at one pay group. So pay group is similar to your payroll area. So you can define the start date, payroll group ID, name, description. You can give the status and pay frequency, whether it is weekly or bi-weekly, etc. And these all other fields you can define it like payroll vendor ID, primary contact ID, primary contact email, primary contact name, secondary contact ID, contact email, contact name, weeks in pay period, data limiter, decimal point, lag, and earliest change date. All these fields you can define. These are optional fields, but in order to define the pay group, you need to at least define the pay's start date, pay group ID, and active for the employee central core module. At least this should be available to define the pay group. So I'm not going in define. Let's define one pay group. Uh, Pay group. I will give 0101 1900. I will give 99. Okay, code already exists. So I will give 99 9 99 98 98. Okay, salaried, say SALARIED, salaried. This is a salaried. I will give this one pay frequency as I will give bi-weekly. So I will choose bi-weekly and I will save this record. So this is how the pay group is defined. Now let's look at the other hourly folks, like the pay scale type, pay scale type. So you can define the pay scale type here. These are the different types how the pay scale type is defined. So for to define the pay scale type, you can see that they have given the pay scale type number here and then the country, and the code is generated automatically based upon the country and then the pay scale type. So let's define one pay scale type. uh, Pay scale type. So I am defining 99, country as USA, and best run USA, and the code will be automatically generated. Okay, so USA 99 is generated. Similarly, I will define the pay scale area. And paste Western USA, USA. Okay, so this is define pay scale area 99. Similarly, you will define the pay scale group. Let's look at the pay scale group. So in the pay scale group, there is a trick. So if you see the pay scale group, you will define, for example, you have defined assembly. Then you have defined external name assembly workers, country as Australia, pay scale area, and pay scale type. So this will concatenate, this will become, first it will take pay scale area, Australia production, then pay scale type was plant, and then it will take the pay scale group as assembly, and then this will become a pay scale group. So let's create this pay scale group. So pay scale group I am giving DEST best run, best run, DEST best run USA, country as USA, pay scale area as USA/99, pay scale type as USA/99, and I will save this. So this has become the name USA 9999 best run. Now we will check say the pay scale level. So the pay scale level is the smallest unit in the pay scale structure. So if you see, the pay scale level is additional level. This is defined external name, effective start date, and then you will define the pay component type, and then on the bottom it is attached to a pay scale group. So whatever pay scale group you will choose here, so it is same plus one dot additional level, which is a pay scale level code, will be added to the code of a pay scale level. So let's create one pay scale level. Pay scale level. So I will say HOURLY hourly. I will say best, then HOURLY hourly. Date is 01/01/1900. Next pay scale level. So this is a optional field, and in pay component field you will choose a pay component. So I will choose basic pay. I will choose $99. Currency U. And what should be the frequency? Frequency, let's say daily. And I will save this record. Oh, it says pay scale group is not defined. So what was our pay scale group? USA/99, 99 best run. Once this is defined, then it will generate the code. If the code is generated USA 9999 best run hourly. So the same way pay scale level is also defined. So this is all about pay.